All right, welcome back, Dr. Moms. Steph and I are so excited to start our new revamped podcast. Here we are. We've been podcasting for almost 9 years, Steph? Is it 9 or 10? It's been a long time,
Yeah.
you guys. But it just really felt like it was time to change things up. So now you can expect shorter episodes. Like 10 to 20 minutes? Although I don't know if Steph and I can keep this one short because we have so many life updates. So our interviews and our intro episodes when we do our life updates will be a little bit longer. But we are going to step into doing more solo episodes. That means that Stephanie, as a registered dietitian, and me as a pediatric naturopathic doctor, we are going to share our wisdom with you and our expertise. And we're going to try to compact that into 10 to 20 minutes max because we know how busy you are. And we're going to have practical takeaways so you could just digest what you need to know as a doctor mom. And we're just so excited about that because we heard from you and we understand how busy you are. So we're moving into that. Now, we're still going to do some interviews, but we're going to do a lot more of those short solo episodes as well. Now, our topics are also going to be more pediatric focus, so you can really master the skills of being a doctor mom. And we are now going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, hi guys, you can now see us. We're so excited to do that. Check out Med School for Moms on the YouTube channel. You can go ahead and subscribe there. We're so excited to just give this a try. See if you guys like it, see how it goes. But we're so happy to just reach more moms and do this. So here's that. That's going to be our revamped kind of podcast for you. Now, a quick little sneak peek into some of the solo episodes that I personally did, so you can kind of get what's coming, and then Steph will go over hers. One of them is that I was teaching about the difference between general immune support and targeted immune support therapies, because really doctor moms need to understand this so we can really understand what we do right away when our kiddos get sick. And there's so many different natural medicines out there, and I really wanted to make it easy for you to understand how to grab your tools. Another solo episode that I recorded for you guys is about cold wet socks. If you haven't heard already about these magic socks, I go into the what, why, when, and how to use them, not only just for fevers, but so many other ailments that I just want all doctor moms to know this amazing at-home remedy. I also teach you guys about Tylenol substitutes, so you feel like you have options as a doctor mom when fever strikes. And then lastly, for this, at least this quarter, I talked a lot about pinworms because you guys, I know it's not fun and it happens. It's not your fault. And I want you to be prepared to know what to do if and when this most common parasite strikes in your house, okay? I go over treatment tools, but also how to prevent reinfection from happening, which is such an important tool of how to get to these pinworms. So our solo episodes, we truly share our practical tips, but also we share our own personal real life experiences with some of these. So you can see that we're right here with you, mamas. And when our kids get sick or, if we have experience with clients and patients, how we navigate this and what to do so you can really, truly feel confident as a doctor mom in your family. So I'm super excited about that. That's all coming out. And every week we're going to be airing something new. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of sneak peek. So Steph, will you share a little bit of what you've been working on so hard behind the scenes? So what's coming up for the moms?
Yeah. So my perspective as a dietitian, I'm talking more about nutrition and food and how to do that with your family. So the first episode that I'm going to be sharing is about iron deficiency. So you may have had a kid that you get lab results back, they're low in iron, they're deficient, or maybe they're anemic. And you're kind of wondering, what do I do? What now? And what we do on the Dr. Mom podcast is we bring in both conventional wisdom and integrative medicine approaches to figure out at what point do you utilize both or what you need to do for your next steps. And so we talk about not only what to do if your child has iron deficiency, but other reasons that they may be experiencing it in the first place. So you're not constantly trying to be on this cycle of repletion, depletion. So figuring it out from the root cause approach too. We also have about hydration in kids. So there's a lot of information about electrolytes heading into the summer. I know my kids are at sports and they're getting Gatorade pushed at them left and right. So we talk about what's really needed in terms of hydration and some of the electrolyte solutions that are out there. And then we talk about vitamin D. So talking about supplementation. Do kids need it? How much? How do you figure out lab testing with kids and finger pricks and all those kind of things? So helping you understand, from a food-based approach, it's really difficult to get enough, but how do you and when do you bring in supplementation? And then we talk about summer nutrition. So besides Christmas, I feel like summertime is another one where everybody's out of their rhythm and snacks are being fed left and right and you're going on adventures and that's all great, but sometimes nutrition can take a hit. And sometimes that's okay. So we talk about balancing the fun treats and making sure you're feeding your family in a way that feels aligned for you and realistic.
Awesome. And then, Steph, we also have some great interviews. So
Yeah.
I wanted to share my 2 interviews that we're doing coming up. I'm getting to interview Dr. Anna Marie Temple. She's an amazing holistic pediatrician. And we're going to talk all about like holistic solutions to seasonal allergies, because I know that's coming up. If not right now, people are dealing with that. So there are just so many different things we can do. And I'm excited to collaborate with her. And then lastly, it's one of our mutual friends, Dr. Erin Calhoun. She's a naturopathic doctor. She's incredible. And we collaborated on a vaccine program that we created together. And there are so many new now vaccine updates in the CDC schedule. And we just really wanted to come on a podcast just to share, how do moms advocate for themselves? What kind of questions do they ask? There's a new category called shared decision making. And so it's like, we just want to help you understand what to do and what kind of questions to ask and what to do so you can really advocate for your child's needs.
Yeah. And I'm going to be interviewing Dr. B. We've had him on the podcast before. He had a book called Fiber Fueled. And one of the things that I don't feel like we talk about enough for kids' nutrition is fiber. And are they getting enough fiber? Fruits and vegetables are not always the easiest foods to get kids to eat, but how do we make sure we're supporting their gut health and microbiome? And is there such thing as too much? And how do we help with the variety in practical ways as parents? And then, because my kids are growing and they're athletes too, I'm very curious and interested in sports nutrition. And I know a lot of moms are too, of how do we make sure our athletes are fueled appropriately, and, making sure that we're checking those boxes so that they recover well and they feel focused and ready to perform when they are competing or even just in recreational sports.
I love it. We have so many great resources for you, mamas. So we just love supporting you. We're so excited about it. So, Steph, let's go ahead into just like some life updates. This is one of my favorite times with you, Steph, because we're such great friends, yet we are so busy. So we have so little time to actually like catch up with one another. So selfishly, I just like love catching up on the podcast, and so many of our listeners love hearing it. So it kind of works out super well. So I know from afar a little bit, you've told me how busy you've been creating needed experts, which is just so incredible. I'm so sick and proud of you, Steph. So please, can you share with the listeners what Needed Experts is? Because they may want to tune into it and just like share kind of what it is and why you've been so busy, because it is a huge project.
Yeah. This is something I had a crazy idea. And, healthcare practitioners that are listening may be familiar with the concept of having to get continuing education credits. So as a dietitian, doctor, nurse, healthcare professional, you need to keep learning, and you need to prove that you are continuing to learn by going and taking courses and programs, and honestly paying a lot of money to get this additional education. And, I was thinking about our amazing community of practitioners that we have at Needed, and the lack of information that's out there when it comes to perinatal nutrition and women's health. And some of the science that is being taught is, 17 years old or more. The RDAs really that were built and created for pregnant women, around 83% of them excluded pregnant women. So we've got these standards and these guidelines that really may not reflect optimal intakes. And so when I was thinking about continuing education, webinars are a really common way to approach it. But the population that we work with and I work with is moms and busy healthcare practitioners that are also typically moms, and sitting down for a 1-hour webinar just really isn't practical. And so I had this idea of, why don't we turn this education into a podcast? And while a mom or a woman or a practitioner is driving to work, cooking, taking a walk, taking care of themselves, they can get education that is something that they're actually interested in, is more cutting edge and free. So this is just so exciting. And so, I've been working on this for over a year now, of thinking through who are going to be the first 8 experts, and getting approval from boards like the RN board, the California Board of Nursing, the RD board, so dietitians and other nutrition professionals can apply for credit, and then naturopathic doctors. So we're working on more board approval, but that's what we're starting with. And I want to share this too, because it's been a lot of work, but I really was reflecting on it the other day. And I don't know if you've seen this before, Elana, but I think it's such a great way to frame things, is just this challenge square is what it's called. And because we're doing YouTube, I can show a picture of what it looks like. It's like this square. And you see in the top right corner, it is that you have a high amount of capacity and you have a high level of challenge. And I think when you have a lot of capacity and you have a lot of challenge, you can really build and create something. And, even if it feels so incredibly challenging. And then On the bottom of that, you see low capacity and high challenge. And that's where you get to, you're just physically depleted. Maybe you're not sleeping because you're working so hard on a project, or you feel like you're doing it alone, you don't have any resources, or you are just completely overwhelmed. So you want to kind of find that happy medium, right? Where you are able to keep your capacity strong so you can grow and challenge yourself and not deplete yourself at the same time. And that is a huge lesson, and it's a very hard lesson in finding that rhythm that works for yourself. And so that's been something I've been having to play with, of like, I have this fire, I have this desire to create, and I've got to make sure I stay in that growth zone instead of that breakdown zone. The opposite of that is when you have high capacity, but you have low levels of challenge. And I hear this sometimes from moms that are maybe like a stay-at-home mom, and their kids are in school throughout the day, and they're trying to figure out, a self-identity of like, well, what do I do now that, I'm not needed for 8 hours a day? So figuring out how you can build that level of challenge, whether it's starting a new hobby or maybe doing something part-time or becoming a volunteer, can help get you into that growth zone. So that's been something I've been playing with and thinking about a lot lately. And it makes the challenge feel a lot more exciting when you realize that it is a huge growth opportunity.
Okay, I love that. And I'm thinking again, like as a mom myself, my capacity is so much lower. Just, I'm waking up so much and I have 4 kids that I'm running after and cooking and all of this. But at the same time, you're right. Like when there's some challenge or something that really piques your interest and you get really excited about, it all of a sudden like opens up capacity. And I know some of my friends are like, they always ask, like, how are you doing it all? Like, how are you doing this? And always my answer to them is like, I have a team. Like, it's not like I'm doing this alone, but I'm also like so fueled by the work that I get to do that it does kind of open capacity. So I really can resonate with this. I think this is really lovely. Thank you. And I'm so excited about Needed Experts. You guys, if you are a health provider, a health practitioner, or just a mom interested in like really pretty high level type of information, you are getting like the cream of the crop kind of stuff. Just up to date information on perinatal nutrition. It's great. And Steph, thank you for putting all your time and energy and love into this, because with all your years of podcasting, this is only going to pay off because you're doing it. And thanks for sticking around for us, because I know it's a lot to balance both. But again, I think because it's a challenge and you've got it, you love it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. It's supposed to launch this week when we're airing it. So fingers crossed it all goes well. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I love that. Okay, well, I know this has been busy, like
Yeah.
busy season, not only with you creating Needed Experts. I know Brian's also been really, really like, busier than like ever, which is like almost hurting my heart because I know how much it's hard on you. So there's just like a balance and there's seasons, right? But I also know your boys are really busy in sports too. So like, what are you doing to get some time? Because I know when busy seasons hit, it's easy to just like put our kids in front of a screen or like drop them off at friends' houses or, get them more involved in sports and just like kind of go, like, what are you doing to kind of find that balance?
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful that they're older now. So they're 9 and 11. And so really they can be mostly self-sufficient. Like they know boundaries enough to keep themselves safe. And what has been really cool about this, kind of thinking about it in a positive light, is they've learned to take care of themselves a lot more. Whereas in the past, when I've been more available and I've had more capacity, they will come to me for everything. Mom, can you make us a snack? Mom, can you make us a meal? Mom, can we do this? Mom, can you set this game up for us? Mom, I'm bored. And because they know that both my husband and I are in a really busy season, I've started to see them like kind of walk to my office and then stop and then go back in the kitchen and figure it out themselves. And so I think that's honestly such a growth opportunity for them too, is even though sometimes you want to help and you want to be there and you want to be available and you want to have that door open 24/7, having a little bit of a barrier or a boundary for them to think, could I do this myself, has been really cool to see them step into that light. But I think back to screen time, that's one thing that I think I probably struggle with the most as a parent, is trying to figure out what my level of comfort is with screen time, because it is so easy, especially at their ages. They can just sit down and play, and I have so many hours of free time if that's the case. But it's not something that feels very aligned for us too. So what we've implemented, and again, this might feel like a lot of time to some parents, or it might feel like a little time to some parents, but we set a limit of 2 hours max a day. And that's typically spread apart. They usually do like 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Sometimes they'll max it out and just do 2 hours at a time if all their friends are on at the same time. But we actually put a physical limit on it too. So with a lot of the different apps that are out there or computers or screens, you can put a max time. So they know once that 2 hours is up, they are done. And so they use their own discernment of, okay, well, I could go play right now, but my friends aren't playing. So I'm going to wait till a little bit later. Or it's actually really nice outside. I'm going to go outside instead of using my screen time. So putting that limit on and honestly enforcing it through that app where they literally cannot helps us not have to nag them about it as much. We also put limits on it. And I know there's, parents have so many different perspectives on what that looks like. But for us, we will only let them watch certain YouTube shows. So things like Mark Rober, they really love Crunch Labs, or they like watching Mr. Beast, or they like watching sports, like how to improve their basketball hoops or facts about different sports that they're interested in. And we're totally fine with that. But anything else just isn't allowed. And we have them watch it on a screen that is somewhere where is a high traffic area. So where we're constantly walking around and we know what they're watching. They're only allowed to play certain games. So we kind of have a limit on what the games look like. And we really recommend that when they're playing screens, they play with friends because that just kind of makes it a little bit more engaging. It's not so isolating. And I feel like they like it better too. And so that's something. Our computer is also within eyesight. So the screens that they have limits and we are overseeing what they're doing. The other thing that I had to do once we started to really implement more boundaries with screen time is we put up a whiteboard of like things that they could do and kind of help brainstorm with them. What are some things that you can do besides screens when you're feeling bored? And they would throw out a couple of ideas and we just had it on that whiteboard. So instead of them coming to us and being like, Mom, I'm bored. Can I do screens? It's like, okay, go look at the whiteboard and pick something that you think would be fun off of that. And that helps kind of remove that barrier of like, I'm bored. What do I do? To I'm bored. Okay, let's check out all the different things that I can do. And what I found through this process is they are starting to find ways to keep themselves occupied, even outside of what's on that whiteboard, right? So the other day, Otto wanted to learn how to do yo-yo tricks. So he's like, I want to get a yo-yo and I'll figure out how to do yo-yo tricks. So he went on YouTube and found a YouTube video of how to do yo-yo tricks. And he literally like mastered that skill in a couple of days. So it's really fun to see that. Piano, there are so many apps that you can get that will literally teach your kid how to play piano and they work so well. So he, has taught himself how to play piano, sports. They're constantly, now that it's warmer out, they're outside and we set up our basement in a way that is more easy and safe for them to play their favorite sports. They've really gotten into books too. I think getting a Kindle has been very interesting for them. I don't know if your kids have Kindles, but for them to just be able to quickly find a book and then they just travel with it everywhere. They're going in the car rides, they have their Kindle. And so that's been a great screen-free, pretty much, opportunity. They've also started playing with the dog more. I feel like that's something where it's like the dog can get forgotten when screen time is available, but she's been getting more activity. And then, like I mentioned, they've been starting to enjoy making snacks and food for themselves. And sometimes they'll bring me something. They'll make like a fizzy water or something and bring it to me. So I feel like we're getting better with screen time, but that's definitely something that we utilize during these seasons. But thank goodness they're older and they can help themselves.
I love this conversation, Steph. I think as every parent, we struggle with this. In different seasons, we struggle with more or less. And I think it's real. I mean, I know some friends will ask me, like, what is your screen rules? And it's really sad. Like, even my mom was like, gosh, we never had this issue in your generation of raising kids. And she's like, I really don't envy you guys. You guys have a lot of parenting things that we never had to deal with. And one is screens for sure. But we're actually very similar. 2 hours is the max for us, but we've done it so they don't get screens Monday through Thursday and they can hop on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they need to earn it. If they have bad behavior or whatever, we could take it away and they really need to earn it. And we're very similar in like, if there's something that they can collaborate on, like hopefully they're choosing the same thing, but they all have such different interests at such different ages. Your boys are actually very close in age. And I don't expect my 3-year-old and my 9-year-old to like choose the same thing to watch. So what's happening in our house that's hard is we only have one TV and I don't want more. And so when we have 3 kids who are watching TV, obviously the baby's not then it's like, I want my iPad. I want this. And we're like, no, we don't want your iPad. So we're kind of struggling with like, what do we do? So we're figuring that out, but it's been tough. We had this big water leak that I know, well, we could talk about, but we lost. Actually, no, that's not true. We had 2 TVs. I've literally for 4 months, we've been dealing with this. So we've lost one of our TVs. So that's why we only one, but we actually have 2. So then the 2 went down to 1. That's why it's only been 1. I was like, I thought I had more TVs.
Yeah, I was like, I thought you had one
I've
downstairs.
been living without it. Yeah, exactly. I've been living without it for so long. But that's when the iPad started coming out because the 2 really helped the different age groups. That's what it was. And we didn't want to get another TV. We kind of figured it out, but similar to you, we kind of just like monitor what they're watching and as best as we can. And, it's this ongoing hassle, but I want to kind of maybe leave a mom with this is I just think that there are busy seasons that we can't feel guilty about it. We have to realize that it's a tool and there's tools in everything, right? There's medicine tools, there's food tools, like there's so many different tools that we have. And if we could just have a relationship with it, that it's not evil, it's not going to kill our kids, like it's not going to give them long-term brain damage. Like there's a time and a place. And as long as like we have some intention around trying to not like let them just go crazy with it and that there's some restriction, you're doing a great job, right? Like you're doing your best. So I hear you on that one, but
yeah, I 100%. I feel like we could talk about this
Yeah,
for
the whole episode on it.
such a long time. But yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely been seasons where it's been more than 2 hours easily. And when they were younger, I feel like they didn't have as many of these opportunities to grow and figure things out themselves. And so we're kind of at a season where we are able to put a little bit more limits and discernment around it. But yeah, it is something where it's like, pick your battle, right? You've got a lot to do and your kids are comfortable and they can learn a lot. Honestly, some of the shows are educational and they can learn and they've taught me things from screens.
I saw this meme or something and it was so right on where it's like, what happens when you turn on the TV for your kids? Like scaring you. And it's like, moms get so much done. No, moms get so much done, right? Like, and it's so true. I mean, it's like amazing how much I can get done when my kids are just like watching TV and quiet. So again, it's like use in all different areas. There's no shame or blame or guilt. Like there needs to be that like what feels good to you, like what works and what's like aligned with your values. For me, when it was like every day for 2 hours, I felt uncomfortable. Like we have like a 3-year-old, we have a 6-year-old and they need to be outside playing. And there's so many things. We're homeschoolers. So like we've got so many things going on. And then for me and my husband, when we really sat down, I was like, look, I can deal with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like that can work for me. But and so that's how we navigated it. And it'll change. It'll change with their ages, their seasons. If it's cold outside, it changes. Like, right, it's all different. So anyway, good for you, Steph. I'm glad you guys found your balance. It sounds really healthy for you guys.
Yeah. Again, but yeah, it's what's working right now. So we'll see. Everything every time it's up for change and consideration. So I want to talk about, you mentioned the water leak briefly. So I know that's been going on for months now in your house and has caused some disruptions and all that. So how are you holding up through all that?
Yeah, honestly, holding up is probably a good word to use.
Yeah.
It's been hard, Steph. And in the sense of, we not only homeschool, but I also work from home.
Yeah.
And our home now with 4 kids, like we've dialed it in. So it just works. Like we know where things are and the baby's now crawling. So it's like safe for him to roam around. And so when we were kind of displaced for some time, which we really needed to, we were gone for 2 weeks so that well, actually, the whole thing was a 4-week process, but we divided it into 2. So we took 2 weeks and we traveled to California to see family, and my husband's business is still there. So they got like half the project done. And then we came back and we kind of lived in it, which was fine. But we've lost one of our kids' rooms. We've lost our entertainment room, like our living room area. So, but it's okay. Like we made do. And then now we were just recently gone for 2 weeks for them just to finish it up. And during the 2 weeks gone, we split our time in 2 different places, but the last place, it was just really hard because the baby's crawling everywhere.
Yeah.
And this house is like just not baby proof. Like I chose an Airbnb that was, I thought, as good as we can. It was a great little neighborhood. It was great for the older kids, but I felt like I could never put him down.
Yeah.
I felt like our sleep was like so bad. I felt like he was getting into everything. I felt like there was just like dust underneath the bed that I was like, I didn't realize it was dusty under there. And he was just like, it was just, so, it was just like the littlest things. And he kept on like falling because, he's still like learning. And we just didn't have like our mats, or we didn't have like the swing for him. Like there was just so many little things that I was like so grateful just to come home.
Yeah.
And, I think it's like hard enough to be a parent and work and balance things. And so I think I realized having like your home environment that we work so hard, Steph, on creating a healthy environment, from the water we drink to the pans that we had. I mean, the pots and pans were like so scratched up. I had to come home and grab our pans, and
Oh,
like just little things that I
yeah.
just was like, wow, I appreciate so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that we're home, it's so much better. I've gotten so much better sleep, and I think the baby's just doing so great too. And I mean, he's always happy. So luckily he's just so
Yes.
resilient and great. But I think for me, and for my husband, it's been such a stretch, because I think having a life already is so busy, but then having like workers coming in and trying to coordinate that, and then making sure that the kids are out of there. And we're just so excited. Today, they're actually here for the last time, that
Okay.
we're believe by tonight we should have Rafi's room back, and Rafi and Adina share rooms. So hopefully they're back. So not all three kids are sharing one room. And we do this thing called WrestleMania at night. It's just like a long story. It's
It
so
sounds like
cute. My
Anthony.
husband, it's totally an Anthony thing. Yeah, he leads it right before bed. They just like run around and do all this like wrestle stuff. And it's so cute. I'm putting the baby down so I get to hear it. But it's been on pause because we haven't had the space. And so like even Adina this morning is like, do we get WrestleMania tonight? Like she's so
Oh, it's
excited.
such a special time
Just
for
to, like,
them.
get back.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally is. Like just to get back to our
Yeah.
routine. So you always look for the gifts in all of this. And I think the gift was like how much we appreciate our house, and how we've gotten some time away that has been really fun. And
Mm.
we just, it's been good. Like I think Aviva now is ready for her own room. All the kids have always been sharing, but I think after this time, she's realized like, okay, I'm ready for my own room. Like I don't want the little kids in my room anymore. Like we tried it. And so there's been a lot of fun things, but we are excited just to settle down. And I'm just praying we don't have like another big house project to deal with anytime soon. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's relatable. Even if you're in the house and there's renovation going on, it's
definitely.
always just disruption. It's
Right.
loud and noisy and
Exactly.
dusty, and yeah. Oh, well, I'm so glad.
Exactly.
I'm glad they're almost done, because that does seem like upheaval of your life and your
It is.
routines and all that kind of stuff. And I remember when it happened, you're like, I think it shouldn't be that bad, right? Like at first it didn't seem like it was going to grow into something that needed
Right.
4 months away. So you've had such a good
That's
head
right.
and heart about all of it.
Well, and maybe for moms who can relate to anyone who's experienced mold,
Yeah.
because we have experienced mold, I was just so grateful that we caught the
Caught it
water
early.
leak when it happened.
Mhm.
We caught it early. So what we're dealing with is not repairs, remediation, and mold. We're just dealing with repairs because the water leak happened, right? Like to me, that gave me so much peace of mind, because when we were dealing with the mold, I knew that our house was like, we were breathing in the spores. It was all over. That to me was just far more stressful,
Yeah.
because now it's like a health related issue
Yeah.
than just like, look, we have to repair.
And
The floor had a water leak, so we ripped it out. Now we're living with it. There's no mold, but now we have to repair it, and it's the whole basement floor, and it's all this. But at least we didn't have mold, so I was like just so grateful about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had your sitter there that was able to catch it so early.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But even though they caught it early, it didn't
Yeah.
really matter. We still had to
Yeah.
literally rip the entire basement floor up. It was just such a
Yeah.
pain, but
Okay.
it is okay. We're grateful for a healthy living environment. We're grateful for our homeowners insurance. Honestly, that's huge.
Yeah.
So it's all good. There's so many other things to stress about, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And you mentioned that Ravi's been happy and like just he's so cute. Every time I see him in our stories, he's smiling, and I'm like, is that just how he normally is, or do you catch him on those good times? I just cannot
Okay.
believe it.
Steph, it's the minute he wakes up, because we co-sleep. So I'm with him all the time, and I have a little salt lamp by my bed, and it's so cute because my other kids know if they sneak in, they get to see the whole thing, because it's like clockwork. I click on the lamp and he just beams, like big smile the minute that lamp goes on. And it's just the minute he wakes up, this kid is just innately a joyful soul, and he just fills the room with joy. And he obviously can't smile all day long, but for some reason, like the minute I take out my camera to either like take a
cheeses.
picture, or he just like all of a sudden opens his like eyes and his mouth and everything. So, you take like monthly photos and you try to like get like the best one. It's like the first one done. Like, if I like put him on Instagram, hey guys, he's just boom. And I'm like, oh my God, you are just so happy. I think he just like likes people and likes that interaction, and just, he is so special, Seb. I'm completely obsessed with him. And I know he's my last baby and I'm having such a hard time. Like, I will start crying right now just thinking about how I will not have like another baby again. And every time he gets like older and older, I'm like, stop
Yeah.
growing, stop. And I've never felt that way about any of my kids. I've always loved seeing them become independent and, learn a new skill and continue to develop. And with him, I'm like, no, no, no. Like, stop crawling, stop holding up yourself, stop doing this. And I just need to accept it because he is doing it rapidly. He's
Mhm.
7 months now,
Okay.
and I feel like it's like going too fast. It's just going too fast. And I just love him so much. He's just so wonderful. So, yeah, he's not only crawling and starting to like hold himself up, but he's, obviously we're started solids
Mhm.
already. We started at
Mhm.
5.5 months. And that's like such a big milestone to me. I think it's so important and I'm so intentional about it. And I've done something honestly different with every kid.
Mm.
So I want moms to know, like, please take the pressure off.
Yeah.
It could be so daunting and so hard. And I just think that there's never like one way. It could be for every kid a little bit differently and what you feel is different. So maybe I could share a little bit because so many moms ask me about what do I do with starting
Yeah.
solids. So maybe
What are
I'll
you
do
doing
that and we
different?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm doing different with him is because our third child, Adina, had eczema, I really, really wanted to do anything I could to try to prevent eczema. So I
Okay.
just started doing a little bit more research on like, if my kid had eczema,
Yeah.
what would I do with a solid food introduction? And I thought, well, why not just do it before it even happens to be proactive? So I got really interested in the GAPS approach
Mm.
to eating solids and I took a whole course on it. I just wanted to understand a little bit more. And I don't think every child needs this, but again, because I have such strong family history of anaphylaxis, allergies, asthma, eczema, recurrent ear infections with my brother, I was like, what can I do to give him just the most nutrient rich foods and to really be mostly very focused on gut healing
Okay.
foods? And so I learned a lot about meat stocks. I learned a lot about just starting with bone marrow and organ meats and like that every bite counts, that like it could just be as nutrient dense as
Mhm.
possible. And prior, I would just be like, here's some watermelon, or here's some,
I see.
avocado,
Yeah.
or here's some mashed yams. Like I just would give them foods that I knew were
Yeah.
healthy, but like, or like really iron rich foods, which of course
Yeah.
I thought was important. So here's some meat. But I never made meat stock. Like I didn't even know what that was. I didn't know the difference between meat stock and bone broth. I didn't realize like how important that like extra gelatin was to the kids. So, for example, if I give him apples, I'll like steam and cook the apples in meat stock. Or if I give him
Interesting.
like a carrot, I'll steam it in meat stock that I've already prepared. Or if like, so instead of just giving him like a steamed carrot, I steam it in meat stock. Like, how great, because I'm just getting extra nutrients in there. Or if I'm doing like egg yolks, which is so nutrient rich, I'll mix it with bone marrow. So it's like egg yolks and bone marrow, which like I would have never
No
taken the
wonder he's so
time to.
happy.
Yeah, no, he is having he loves food
Yeah.
too. The kid loves food.
Yeah.
And so I agree. I think a lot of the reason why he is happy is I think he is a very healthy child. He's not pooping every day, but I'm okay with that because he is still mostly breastfed. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get him to poop more. But like the kid is so happy. He has no eczema, no rashes at this point. He's only 7 months. So far, he's had no food aversions or sensitivities or reactions, whereas Adina did to eggs.
Mhm.
So, every child's different. Also, when Adina was introduced to solids, I knew we had mold. I didn't know we had mold in the house,
Oh,
but looking
okay.
back, we now realize we were introduced to mold, and then it got even worse when we were traveling. So I think that also obviously filled her bucket, and just she was more, her resilience was just lower. And every kid is different.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's what we're doing. And since we started that very slowly, now at 7.5 months, he's eating a lot more stuff. I mean, his favorite food is steak by far. And I was laughing last night. We made steak and I'm like literally cutting him like a piece of filet. And I was like, this kid is so lucky. He's getting like such good food. But at the end of the day, like, every little piece to me matters, that he's only eating so much that I'm happy to give him a strip of steak that he gets to like chew on. And I know it's nourishing him in so many great ways. So that's what we're doing for solid foods. And I'm happy to share more, but I love that.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, and it's like every time you have a child, it's a great opportunity to reevaluate what you did and what worked and what didn't work and what's new. I mean, if I had kids, it would be a completely different approach with all the different tools that are out there and information about allergies and introduction and all of that. So it's cool that you get to
That's
keep
right.
learning too, even to be able to share this information with
And I've
moms.
loved that.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, though, I would say has been consistent is the early food allergens. I do
Yeah.
believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yep.
So with every kid, we've
Yep.
done that. And now Revi's done great with all of them. But I never went the GAPS approach. Like I never did the
Yeah.
meat stock or the bone marrow or the organ meats. I just never did it. But now I know more and I know
Yeah.
better. So I get to do it. And I don't feel guilty that I didn't do it with Aviva. I don't feel guilty that I didn't do it with Adina. It's like I didn't know. And now I
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So like how great. So I hope that moms can take from that because I just never want you guys to ever waste any energy feeling guilty about anything because we are already busy enough. We don't
Yeah.
have a lot of energy as is. So
I
just like
know.
don't waste it on feeling guilty.
Yeah.
You learn more and then you know better and you do better. And that's how it is. So anyway,
Yeah.
on that note, let's wrap up. But
Yeah.
we love sharing these resources with you because we're hoping that these resources help you learn and grow so you can make better decisions as a mom for your individualized kids. And that's kind of what being a doctor mom is, right? Having options, knowing our tools, knowing when to use the tools, when to lean on other resources. And we absolutely love sharing that with you. Now, we could not have done this podcast. We cannot continue to do the podcast without our amazing team. Bob, thank you. I know you're listening here. You're our editor. You're Stephanie's dad. You are amazing. You are so great. And thank you for being so adaptable with all of our changes because we've made a lot and you've been so great with that. We have our Magic on our team. We have Ashley on our team. It takes a team approach in order to do this. And now that we're on YouTube, it's even more work. So we're hoping that you guys love it. Please give us some feedback so you know if it works for you guys. So we're really excited to start pretty much next week with our solo episodes. You can let us know how you like them. We're a little bit nervous about it because there's a lot more to be on video and to do them, but we just have so many resources to share. So we hope that enriches your life and helps better the health of all of your family members. So we love you guys and thank you for sticking around with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we will see you next week with more information and short and sweet episodes that fit into your lifestyle.